Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Tangled. This is the 50th Walt Disney animated film in their history. Yeah, this is from 2010. It's an hour and 43 minutes. It is a modern classic, I think. We could call it that. It has all the hallmarks of a great Disney film. It's got a great brand new princess in the. It's based on a classic tale of Rapunzel with the endless locks of golden hair. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. She's kept trapped in a tower, and I don't remember much of the other rest of the story that went with that, but it's a very old classic fairy tale type thing, and of course this is Disney's take on things. She of course is has to get out of the tower at some point, and with that it brings trouble. The funny thing is about this is that I've seen this movie before 12 years ago, and it was almost like seeing it for the first time. I know I've seen it, so I can't mark it as, oh, I haven't seen it before, as I keep track of that kind of thing. And but it's still it was felt brand new. I mean, and I knew the characters. I knew Flynn, and I knew Rapunzel and Maximus the horse, and Mother Gothel, and Pascal the little lizard chameleon. So you get those are the main characters for the most part. Two humans and well, three humans and two animals, and then other characters here and there, but they're all mostly supporting characters, villains, or maybe even Rapunzel's parents. Well, one of the funny things about this is I completely forgot that Flynn is narrating sort of the exposition, everything that leads up to their main story. He tells the story of how he dies, and in a of course, that seems suspicious considering he's still telling the story. But he tells a story of how Rapunzel was kidnapped as a baby by this woman who wanted to use her magical powers to keep her young and vital. And yeah, I mean it's I forgot all the details behind that, and that's kind of for me it was great to be able to experience this for the first time again. So yeah, I mean beyond just it's a fun, it's some really great animation. It's got really of course it has to have really good hair effects. It has good water effects and things like that. And this is firmly in the era. Well, it's the year after Avatar came out, so I'm pretty sure when this came out they upscaled it to 3D. If they didn't, this feels like the kind of film that they should have. In the same way, though, I mean, digital films look. If you're gonna upscale any films into 3D back in that era, the digital films in the first place leave the most room for that kind of thing, as compared to live action stuff, which they tried to do that with a bunch of things, including like Clash of the Titans, and it was pretty bad. So, but anyway, I like the animation. Some of the hair stuff is still being worked on. I mean, The Incredibles has always been my benchmark for both water and hair effects, and how well they did that during my favorite scene, the plane crash scene. And this, there's some tiny iffy moments, but they're completely forgivable, and it's because you're dealing with a lot of hair, and it's along a lot of different locations and everything else. And honestly, seriously, if I keep thinking this now more than ever watching this, if at some point they're going to make a live action remake of this, it's just what Disney does. They just did Pinocchio. They're going to do this. They've done Beauty and the Beast, and of course Little Mermaid, which is all the controversy now. They're doing all sorts of remakes, and they're going to do this at some point. I can't help but think that if you're going to have a live action film with a girl with just what seems like 100 yards of hair, like thick, flowing, long hair, which is going to absolutely be digital, still in the real world, if this was a real world story, not a Disney film, she would have the filthiest hair. It would just be disgusting. If they do not somehow run that into a joke at some point where she's just dragging her hair through the woods at some point, and you're just like, it's just covered in muck and dirt and grass and leaves, and everybody's just like, oh, she's disgusting. Like, yeah, it's that has to be a thing at some point. And here in a cartoon, in an animated film, you can suspend disbelief, but yeah, it's a little weird that her hair just stays so perfectly golden blonde and unharmed. Of course, I do appreciate the fact that when she uses her hair as a means to pull people up to the tower or swing and grapple and do all sorts of different things, she doesn't like just let them swing along right from her scalp. She ties it to something else as reinforcement, so it doesn't just like pull her hair off of her head. So, which would be just terrifying for a children's film. But yeah, she you see her always moor it to something, and then Flynn is swinging on her hair like it's a vine from one place to another as they're trying to escape the people who are trying to capture them. So yeah, it's all good fun. By the way, speaking of which, this stars Mandy Moore as Rapunzel and Zachary Levi. You know him as Chuck in Shazam. As Flynn. We got Donna Murphy as Mother Gothel, and we got Ron Perlman, Hellboy and Sons of Anarchy, and so many other things. He's been in a billion different things. He plays one of the Stappington brothers, so one of the thugs that are coming after that works with Flynn at the beginning of the film. MC Gainey is in this as a captain of the guard. Jeffrey Tambor is one of the thugs, and Brad Garrett is the hook-handed guy who wants to be a pianist. So yeah, it's there's a big Paul F. Tompkins. Oh geez, and Richard Keel, Jaws from James Bond films. He plays Vlad. He doesn't have a whole lot to say, but he's there. But yeah, there's a lot of people in this. This is, yeah, good grief. But even though it's a fairly small main cast, it's pretty fleshed out. And I mean, there's a reason why this is this is a classic, a modern classic in a sense that people really glommed onto it because one, it's an appealing character, and Rapunzel's easy to love, and she wants to get out of being trapped at home, and her Mother Gothel is doing everything to neg her every time she gets, just for no reason. Like, she seems to be complimenting her at the same time putting her down, and yeah, it's and she lies to her the entire time, pretending that everything she does it for Rapunzel. She's doing it all for herself, to keep her power for herself. And it's an all too familiar modern day thing that we deal with, whether it's a family situation or a relationship situation. The connection between Mother Gothel and Rapunzel is terrifyingly real. Gaslighting and all sorts of stuff. Just yeah, it's you really feel for Rapunzel because she wants to get out of being trapped in this tower as she has for 18 years. As far as she knows, because since she was a baby. And then, of course, Flynn comes along accidentally and breaks her out, or becomes her escort into the world so she can see what these lanterns are all about. And, I mean, she's a smart girl for, she's educated herself at least, sitting in that... she's taught herself all sorts of art, and she reads books, and so she's kept busy. I mean, honestly, sitting in just a tower your entire life might get a little boring. It might feel a little bit... I think this might have been the perfect pandemic film at the time, where everybody's just sort of trapped inside and just not in the heat of it, and like the main part of it in 2020 when we were just not going anywhere. This would have been like a humongous breath of fresh air. I was going to grow my hair out, but I didn't really have time, and I don't have her powers. I could have just messed it up, and you could have seen just how horrible my hair is. But I can't theme every episode. So yeah, it's and of course Flynn is incredibly appealing as well. He's super hot as he believes himself to be. He has the smolder, and Zachary Levi brings a lot of character to him as well because he does this great sense of humor about his how his delivery of his characters. So it's a self-deprecating but so unearned confidence at the same time. So yeah, it makes him uh, what makes him a really good thief. He's like a Han Solo character in a sense. Um, so yeah, I think Zachary got to kind of live out his dream doing this. I would think. There's moments of this that feels motion captured. I mean, they've been always motion capturing all the way back to Snow White and Alice in Wonderland and things like that. But the modern type of motion capture, the dots and everything else, where they uh, match the animation to the actors' movements, this feels a whole lot like that. The animation in this, I like the camera work. I realize there's no real world camera in this sense, but the movement of the action and honestly the physical comedy and the slapstick, there's a lot of great physical comedy throughout this, especially with Flynn. Especially just the sequence where he and Rapunzel first meet, and she is very on guard. She has her frying pan, and every time he tries to reason with her or tries to do whatever he can to get away from her and to not be trapped by all of her hair, it leads to really funny comedic moments between the two of them, and they're immediately endearing to each other. There's not a it's almost not there's almost no time in which that it gets earned. I mean, honestly, you're watching the movie. It's a Disney film. You see the people on the poster. You know they're going to get together. It's just the way it is. There's never going to be like a platonic situation where they're just like, we're best friends by the end of the movie. No, it's not. That's not a thing. But one of the things that I forgot that I loved so much, one of my favorite characters in this is Maximus the horse. The way they animate him, the way he just reacts and moves, and also his rivalry he has with Flynn as well. This sort of cat and mouse chase at first, and then just this begrudging team up that they have eventually, and then as it evolves past that, it's great to see a nonverbal character with so much personality. And Pascal, the little chameleon, he absolutely has tons of character as well. He's communicates really well just through a few squeaks and here and there and movements. But Maximus is just a big piece of art that just moves through this, and I really enjoy Maximus probably almost the most out of all the characters in this. It's hard to say because it's a lot of likable characters in this. It's fun. This is the kind of thing you could throw on in the background on any given day and just have a ball. One of the things that I find surprising about this is that while Alan Menken is the composer for this film, and there's a lot of songs, it's a musical to a degree, as any Disney film is. I don't remember any of the songs, which is kind of sad. I mean, Alan Menken, come on, he's the foundation for so many modern Disney films beyond the Sherman Brothers and the classic stuff. But there's good songs in this, but I think there's something, I don't know. It's just none of these songs really hook. I'm not like walking around Disneyland and hearing them throw one of these songs into the mix. I don't know why. I mean, there's a song when they're doing the lanterns thing and everything else that they have a duet. That sounds like it might show up at Disneyland or some sort of big mix. Speaking of which, they do have a sing-along version of this. They've done this with, I think, most of the big Walt Disney animation films with music. So you can sing along with, Frozen, obviously, and everything else. But yeah, if you're interested, if you've seen this a million times, but you feel like singing along with the songs that, honestly, I can't remember. And there's nothing, there's no Let It Go. There's no Let It Go. Mandy Moore at the end, she does the over the credits song at the end. I'm pretty sure it's her. because she's a pop star. She was a pop star before she was an actress. So it was, yeah, it's to me, there's so much going for this. I'm just surprised that the music didn't pop more, I guess. Didn't have a bigger, more memorable role. It's not that the music is bad. It's just that it just doesn't take center stage compared to the big personalities and the animation and the action. This is there's a lot of action in this. It constantly seems to be moving. Yes, there's a few little quiet romantic moments. And then, of course, there's the conflicts between Mother Gothel and Rapunzel, as she's like, "Nope, you're not going anywhere. Don't even try." I mean, Mother Gothel is kind of one of the worst villains. I mean, she's not a puppy killer or anything like Cruella, but still, she's at least in a modern sense, as we understand villains that could exist in our world, not ones that turn into dragons or, stuff like that. I don't think there's anybody out there trying to kill Dalmatians for a coat. In a very real sense, in the modern world, Mother Gothel is kind of the worst. So, I'm trying to think about other things in this. This is one of those things where I think, like I was talking about the motion capture and the movement and everything else, is one of those things where I think they try to do more realistic proportions for the humans, but they still made the female lead, Rapunzel, this sort of big alien head with the big eyes and everything else. It's very Disney. It's just the way it is. It's how it is. But it seems sometimes like it's struggling between a more realistic approach to her expressions, and then also just big eyes everywhere, and it's kind of to me it's a little strange, but she's a lovely young woman. So there could probably be a lot more talked about this, but I mean, honestly, I think I've covered a lot so far. If you have any questions or comments, you can just leave them on the video and say, well, you know what, maybe I'll respond to them. If there's something that you feel that maybe I missed or, should have talked about. Because I always think of something after I'm done with this, and I go, oh, I forgot to mention that. Like, I'm sure I was going to forget talking about Maximus, but no, I didn't. I talked about Maximus. I'm very happy about that. So yeah, I really enjoy this film. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it for whatever reason, if you have children in the home that have existed in the last 10 years, odds are you've seen it. So if you haven't visited in a while, though, it holds up. It really does. So it's a good, fun adventure. The great hero and heroine at the same time, and of course the happy ending. Of course, this also, it feels like it's set in like a almost Bavarian, Eastern European realm. And there is a connection to Frozen. I believe that Rapunzel and Flynn make an appearance at Anna's wedding. If you watch Frozen, the first one, or no, the second one, one of them, they appear. Oh, the party, yeah, the coming out kind of party that they have. You can see for a split second, you see Rapunzel in the crowd. So, and she's fairly close up to the camera. So, yeah, it's they do exist in the same realm, and they're probably about the same age. They might even know each other. Well, why else would you come to the wedding? So, anyway, yeah, I say definitely check it out. But that's a given. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
464.
464. Come on. Are we in the thes? 464. Okay. This falls into the realm of the red-colored ones. It's either a documentary or a reality-type show, and I have a feeling it's the latter. It's a reality show. I think this is the one with Yvette Nicole Brown. I'm not sure. We're going to watch maybe one episode, and I think we'll get the idea of it. But I've seen this. I've seen stuff about this, but I have not watched it. So we're going to be watching The Big Fib. So, yeah, The Big Fib is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye.